After all these years, Porsche Taycan has finally been unveiled, and even though a lot of information has leaked and was outed by Porsche itself, there were still a lot of surprises, and one of them was actually pretty good. I know a lot of people were kind of prepared to be disappointed, and there were a few disappointing details, and we'll go over them as well, but one of them was actually something that people got really excited about, so I'm going to share that with you, some of the specs that came out, and everything that we need to know and you need to know about Porsche Taycan that's going in production at the end of this year. So let's get going. Welcome to E4Electric, your #1 source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. Alright, so it finally happened. Porsche Taycan is here. This is what it looks like, which is pretty decent, I have to say. And this is one of the things that people were surprised about, so we might as well jump right into it because the look of the car was something that people were kind of concerned about, because a lot of times we saw this camouflaged car, and now that it was unveiled, people were like, whoa, it does look more like the Mission E concept. So let's compare. Now I say that, and I looked at the pictures over and over again, is that I think people are more surprised that they finally saw it in white. It was the camouflaged, and I'm doing air quotes, camouflaged cars were in black, and then maybe a lot of curves and little details were hidden, but once people saw it in white, they're like, oh my god, it looks more like Mission E. So let's compare the pictures. Here's the one sort of the one that most of us have seen. As you can see, the actual Taycan is much higher. It's not as slick in terms of the curves. The tire is not really protruding as much. The tire muscle, if you will, is not protruding as much from the hood. On the back, it's much smoother, and of course, there are no suicide doors, as we kind of expected. So here's another one. This is comparison from the back. Once again, you can definitely see that the Taycan is taller, and the lines, some of the lines are like very similar, but yet not the same, and that's what's making a lot of difference. But again, I just want to emphasize, this is a great looking car. It's just they teased that it was an amazing looking car, then kind of went down with the camouflage cars, and now people, but I think it's the fact that the car is in white. Now this is probably the biggest where you can see the biggest differences of the side view. Obviously and this is everything that I've already mentioned, just more aggressive curves and slicker and sort of not as tall of the car, so it looks longer, and therefore it almost looks like it's in motion. I'm talking about the Mission E. But the Taycan is, again, great looking car, looks very similar to what Panamera is. People will absolutely love it, just not as much there. I don't see the big difference between that one and what we've been seeing as, again, the camouflage version, but oh well. All right, so now let's talk about the specs, and there are quite a few interesting things that came out. The first of all, obviously, originally they promised us 350 kilowatt charge. Then they went down to 250, but it's actually going to be 270. So that's a good thing. Now, the thing is that for that you need 270 kilowatt charging. You need to have 800 volt chargers, which Ionity and Electrify America are. But if you don't connect it to the 800 volt chargers, they actually, and I kid you not, you will have to buy, and this is from their configuration website, you have to buy for almost $500 a dumbed down charger, onboard charger, so you can charge with only 150 kilowatts. Which is insane. Now, about the Electrify America, and this is I don't think they've struck the same deal with Ionity. Maybe they will soon, but with Electrify America in the US, Porsche Taycan customers will have 3 years of free charging. There is a 30-minute limit, but because it's charging pretty fast, it might just be enough. Of course, you can pay a little bit extra if you need to. This is kind of like Tesla's supercharger, a free supercharging deal, which is great. Now, a lot of people obviously were expecting this car to be a Tesla Model S a competitor. In many ways it is, but the specs are just not there. Meaning like they're not they're not beating Tesla Model S. They're there, but they're just not beating it. Now, 0 to 60, we're talking about in 2.6. Which is compared to Tesla Model S, the performance version, and the ludicrous version. We're talking about 2.4 4, right? So it's very close, much closer than a lot of people thought. So in that regard, it's definitely beating it, or at least close to beating it. Though both, trust me, are very, very, very similar. I mean, you will, if you ever been in a ludicrous Model S, you just don't even know where you're at. It's so strong. Now, another specs is obviously 750 horsepower, and no Android Auto yet. They have the Apple built in, but somehow they still have not announced the Android, which is kind of weird because this is an unveiling. They're going into production very soon. That is certainly a disappointing stats. So, but overall, the cars here, it is, and I want to say, before we go into the negative surprises, is, it's amazing that we have another really good electric car on the market. So welcome to Porsche Taycan. The more the merrier. We'll see how their sales go, and we'll see how their production goes, but definitely welcome to the family, the electric car family. Now, let's talk about some not such good surprises. Before that, of course, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out the all-electric SUV called M-Byte coming to the US and Europe in the next couple of years, starting at only $45,000 before the incentives. You can make your reservation for free. There's absolutely no deposit to make a reservation. Over 50,000 of us already done so. About 60 seconds of your time. So go to the description of this video to reserve your Byton today. All right. So back to Porsche Taycan, and this is one of the disappointing things that I think everybody was very much Taycan back by, and it is the price. So they're not even going to be making a base version. They're just going to be starting with premium versions. The base versions are not announced. There's no pricing, there's no specs, nothing. So they're just going to go with $151,000 base price, which is essentially, and by the way, when you fully configured, and there are two versions there, when you configure the top of line version, it goes past 200,000. Just in comparison, a top of line Model S is about 110,000. So we're talking about doubling the price of the top performance version. By the way, they're called Taycan Turbo and Taycan Turbo S. Just in case if you not realizing how insane this is, turbo stands for turbocharged, which is a technology created for a gas engine to inject like high pressured air into the engine so it boosts the performance, right? Something you cannot do with an electric motor, obviously. So that's kind of weird and insane, but the pricing is definitely prices it out for most of the market. In most of Model S owners will see how their, 40,000 reservations that they already said they have are going, what they're going to think about that, because I bet a lot of them will just have to drop out, because at least for now. So that's number 2, a surprise, and it's a little disappointing. But let's go to the third one, and that is the range. Now, originally they promised over 300 miles, but now with the numbers that are coming up, even the longest top of the line option will get you, and I'm converting to the best of my abilities to the EPA estimate, we're talking about 250 miles. So that means that the regular turbo is going to be about 230, 240. And if they ever have the base version, we're probably talking about 200 miles. Now, it's not anything over 200, I believe, is a great electric car, especially when you have a fast charging capabilities like Taycan has. Now, Taycan does beat Tesla Model S in a top charging rate at 270 kilowatts versus the 200 kilowatts that Model S has. But that difference is not significant enough, because they were taunting us with 350 kilowatts, and so we're still a little disappointed. But the range, definitely disappointment. They do have a 93 kilowatt hour battery compared to Tesla's 100 kilowatt hour battery, so it's a little bit smaller, but nevertheless, I really thought that it should be has a 3 in front of it as far as the top of the line range for this car. So, but again, these specs are still really good. The car looks good. It's on the market. It's going in production. They're going to be selling it in the next few months. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully there's not too many production issues. Hopefully there are not too many fires or whatever else happens a lot of times to the new models. And I really hope that they go in. I mean, I just can't emphasize enough, and I also want to see your comments, especially if you were a Mission E or a Taycan reservation holder, if the price is going to deter you from buying it. Though a lot of Porsche fans have deep pockets, so that may not be a big deal to some of them. Now, I do want to say that one thing that the Taycan, and everybody says that is much better than the Tesla Model S, is the track performance, just the performance, right? Just kicks his butt, better output, prolonged output from the battery, all of that good stuff. But unfortunately, I don't know how much it's going to really appeal to a regular consumer, because unless you're taking it to a track, I don't see how you will really need those capabilities. And I know it's a Porsche, right? And they really wanted to be true to their brand and performance and stuff like that. And they've done an amazing job with that. But I just don't think that their best features are going to be appreciated by most of the buyers, especially if they're coming over from the Model S family or just from a kind of four-door luxury sedan family. Not that crazy about the interior. I already mentioned it's kind of like, looks like a Best Buy kind of threw up inside of Porsche 911. You know, it's okay. Here it is, the kind of a close-up. You know, I am digging the monitor in the middle, the kind of a middle console monitor, but everything else is just okay. And that little clock on the not a big fan, but that's fine. All right, so let me know in the comment section what you guys are thinking. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our VIP list. We send a bonus story every Saturday, something that we cannot fit on here on YouTube channel or on our website, but if you go to e4electric.com/VIP, you can sign up for our newsletter, and it's yet another free thing that we offer in the description of our video. All right, looking forward to your comments. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.